Good morning. I'm Karen McLean. I will be leading this service today, and I welcome everyone here. As you are welcome here. Visitor, friend, or longtime member, you are welcome here. With little children or your partner or alone, we joyfully welcome you here. You are welcome here as believer or doubter, as joiner or loner. You are welcome here. Feeling a part of us or not, full of energy or not, seeking a vision or a rest. You are welcome to join us as you are. We acknowledge that we are in the Aboriginal territories of the Salish, Nez Perce, Blackfeet, and Anishinaabe people who shared the Helena Valley as hunting grounds. The indigenous story of the Helena Valley began long before the arrival of Europeans. We honor those who walked here before us. We honor the path that they have shown us in caring for this place for generations to come. We strive for justice and fair relations with their descendants. I know I typed this up, but I forget. Okay, so we have announcements. Anyone?
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to share with you that some of us have been in contact with Greg Worcester, and he's having a really hard time these days. He is living in his car, and what he really needs is community, and he's not allowed to come here. So this community, if we could reach out to him through Facebook or give him a call or just text him or, just go online and say hello to him, it would really mean a lot. And if anyone wants to do some financial donations, please make it out to BSUU and put Greg's name in the bottom of the check. He would really appreciate hearing from people, and that's what we do. We support each other.
I'm sorry, this mic here seems to be not working real well. Okay. Cass.
I wanted to add a little bit to Greg's situation. Today is his son Liam's birthday, and they're having a party, and he cannot go because of a court order. So he's a hurting puppy.
But I saw Cynthia and the kids at the store, and they're going to be here soon. So they said they were coming to church.
They are?
Mm-hmm. That's the plan. Yeah, at the store.
Any others? Yes, Catherine.
This is a personal concern. On Thursday morning, I got a call around 5:30, and my mom, who lives in a nursing home, was taken to the ER. She has gotten pneumonia. She is now in the hospital. But the reason why I took her in is because her oxygen levels were around 60, and then they put her on oxygen and it went to 85, but they couldn't get it up. So she's now having oxygen treatments on antibiotics, things like this. This is the second time she's gotten pneumonia in the last 6 months. So any thoughts and prayers toward her would be greatly appreciated.
Catherine.
Hi. I know this is joys and concerns as well, so I'm just joyful that it's Mother's Day. And I read a little poem this morning that I thought was fitting for especially people, women who are abused. And so anyways, some rhythms must remain unbroken. Like a dancer in an arabesque, some women cannot carry a child in their arms. Some come to salvation drawn by the hands of small children. Some can only make their leaps alone. And that's by Mary Mackey.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Okay. I need somebody to light the chalice. Thank you, Cass. And we'll say this together. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Thank you, Cass. And now we're going to sing number 123. Funny, that looks like a 2. Number 123 in our hymnal, Singing the Living Tradition, Spirit of Life. And stand as you are able and willing. Thank you.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
And now we have the story for all ages, and we do have children here. So please come up. Thank you. All right, this is, and let's see. Marianne, could you hold the mic for me? All right. This is about in between places. It's by Alex Killian, and it's illustrated by Grady McFerrin. In between places are not up or down, not in or out.
You guys see what you understand? You can see, okay, good.
They're not all the way to one side or the other. In between places are bridges and ladders staircases and slides. It's hard to get just one page. At times, they might be long and dark.
No, thank you.
That's a long tunnel. Dawn and dusk are in between places. All right, so dreams are in between places. Dreams. Sometimes you'll find yourself in the place between where you're going and where you've been. You might be sailing down under a parachute. Wow. Or floating up in a balloon. You might be drifting shore to shore on a cool blue sea. A gap between two mountains. A pause between two steps. The spot between two pathways. You might go forward or around the bend. Two roads diverged in a wood. And I couldn't decide. Or you might choose to leap. Sometimes in between places lead to just where you wanted to be. Sometimes they lead to more in between places. And sometimes they lead somewhere unexpected but bright with possibility. And that's the end. Thank you for coming up. I very much appreciate seeing you both. Now we're going to sing you out. Peace and love go with you. Peace and love go with you. May learn and grow. Learn and grow. Now we're going to have the offering. In the hurry of getting things arranged here, I didn't ask for help with the offering, so anybody who wants to help with that, thank you. Okay, we're gonna sing Thank You for Loving Hands after this little bit here. And it's in your Open Your Heart songbook, page 25. Thank you for your gifts this day and all the gifts of action that make this community possible. If you are visiting, please remain our guest. Your presence is your gift to us.
Your loving heart, your loving ways. Thank you for the gifts each day. And if you ever doubt yourself, remember us who love you well. We know all the gifts you bring into the world each day. So thank you for your loving hands, your loving heart, your loving ways. Thank you for the gifts you bring into the world each day.
And I do want to thank everybody, the cantors and the people who at the last moment volunteer to help with the little tasks. All right, now we are reading the 7 principles. It's on page X, which doesn't have a page number on the page. But it's in our Singing the Living Tradition book, in our hymnal. It's 2 pages back from the first hymn. And we're going to read this together. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience, and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. The goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. Thank you. Now we're going to sing If There Is a God. And that is on page 28 and 29 in the Open Your Heart songbook. Feel free to stand. You know what? If we need to stand when most of the time we're sitting, that's a really good idea. It was crackling.
So this is for all of you who don't know if there's a God. If there is a God, God is elusive. If there is a God, God is right in my face. If there is a God, I'm not so important. If there is a God, is that who's given me grace? 'Cause grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel, and grace I know, and grace is touching my soul. If I believe, do I practice detachment? Walk in silence, sit for days, lay down my life like a poet and sing God's praise. 'Cause grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel, and grace I know, and grace is touching my soul. Now if there is a God, do I argue gender? If God is so big, does God even care? I don't mean about me, I just mean about the details. So I'm blinded by God, they say that God's everywhere. But grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel, and grace I know. If God is grace, then God is touching my soul. Grace I see, God I don't. Sometimes I believe, sometimes I don't. But grace I feel, and grace I know, and grace is touching my soul. Touching my soul. Touching my soul. Well, you might want that works. Thank you.
All right. Now, the second reading, same page. And this time I'll do it. The living tradition we share draws from many sources. Direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder, affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces that create and uphold life. Words and deeds of prophetic women and men which challenge us to confront powers and structures of evil with justice, compassion, and the transforming power of love. Wisdom from the world's religions, which inspires us in our ethical and spiritual life. Jewish and Christian teachings, which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as ourselves. Humanist teachings, which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science, and warn us against idolatries of the mind and spirit. Spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Grateful for the religious pluralism which enriches and ennobles our faith, we are inspired to deepen our understanding and expand our vision. As free congregations, we enter into this covenant, promising to one another our mutual trust and support. Let me get my water. On a dark winter's night, I see the stars, the moon's luminescence on soft snow. I'm alone. I'm in a cold place. Warmth in me defies the cold. I like to believe the prime creator of the universe dances in my bloodstream. dances in the flow of every sentient being in the universe, interconnecting all in a multi-dimensional fabric of energy pulsating into infinity. It all matters. And I'm not alone. That paragraph introduced my first talk at a BSU youth service a little over 3 years ago. It was about winter solstice and dark nights of the soul. The latter, which I've experienced more than once in this life. In that talk, I described having a strong childhood faith in a fundamentalist religion, then struggling with it and breaking free from it. After that, I became a hardcore reactionary atheist. If submitting to critical judgments against me were the terms for connection to God, then I didn't need God. In the years following, I went back and forth from different denominations of Christian faith to anything but Christian, whether it be Buddhism, Taoism, Wiccan, to name a few. Over the years, I've come to realize that if I'm to feel whole, I need faith. I need a cogent sense of how I fit in the world around me. As explained by Houston Smith, an authority on comparative religion, there is a deep human craving for knowing one's direction in life's lay of the land. And there is no cutoff point for the geography in question. In the searching process, we require a metaphorical eco-niche, our worldview, our sense of the whole of things. We search for how it is that we fit in this eco-niche we see ourselves as part of. When one fits, one feels empowered, belonging. In my searching process, I need to have faith because, as Houston says, there is no cutoff point in life's lay of the land. Which is why it deeply disturbs me when I hear admonitions from individuals in this membership that we shouldn't be talking about faith or grace or anything to do with religion. However, good reasons for avoiding religion abound. Throughout human history, countless millions have been killed, tortured, wounded, and deeply traumatized in the name of religion. Here's the deal about that. The Immaculate Conception of virtue is a double-edged sword enabling the harm. More on that Immaculate Conception later. We put a halo over those ordained immune from wrongdoing. And then we gloss over holding them accountable when they claim moral justification for harm done. So, atrocities like the Inquisition and the Holocaust happened without reproof until years after. Trusting vows of celibacy led to betrayal of trust with sexual abuse, and not just in the Catholic Church. Christianity isn't the only religion doing harm. Check in with the Muslims fleeing Myanmar, fueled by Buddhist hatred against the Islamic faith. This theologically justified harm is irreparable and ubiquitous. What are the dynamics at play here? As we search for direction in life's lay of the land, we seek answers. There are no answers. It seems to follow that we use our best intuitive guesses and end up with a lot of opinions. Having labored long figuring out how all this unquantifiable, metaphysical, spiritual stuff might work, we get attached to our corners on truth about that. We want it set in stone. We hook it in with the highest rulers of the land so they make it law. We find ourselves set in stone, paralyzed from protecting entrenched belief systems at the expense of connection with each other. Consequently, we suffer from blocked energy, disease of spirit. Yet, in all this dysfunction, miraculously, there are just enough sacred moments, sparks of insight, and threads of grace to keep us connected and soldiering onward. This is a difficult path. Yet it is possible because our spirit matters. Spirit within cannot be eradicated. Religion cannot be eradicated. Houston Smith observed that the USSR's suppression of religious practices for over 70 years did not destroy the Russian Orthodox Church. When Mao Zedong took over Chinese government, he excoriated Confucius as bourgeois. But at the turn of the century, Confucian ethics is back in Chinese schools. It's about connection, nurturing spirit through religious practices. As Becky reminded us in her Five Stones talk, one of the origins of the word religion means to bind together. It builds connective tissue within the bonds of each other. Religion has not left me either. Consequently, it has become the sandy friction forming a pearl of spirit within my life as an oyster. I'm grateful for the mystery. The first thing I thank God for is that they are beyond my ability to conceptualize. Regardless of whatever belief system I followed in this life, I've always known down deep that I am tuned with, directed, and empowered by whatever that intelligence is, which is all around me and within me. I am equally grateful for my connection with others, which is inherent in religious practice. Within religious dysfunction, there is trauma. According to Gabor Mate, a Canadian physician specializing in trauma, quote, "Trauma is not the bad things that happen to you, but rather what happens inside you. Being myself is not okay anymore. I feel worthless. This is not a good place. The healing process is coming back to myself, back to my true nature." Trauma in a religious setting is especially hurtful because hot buttons in religious settings have emotionally deeper roots. This is how. Remember in Becky's Five Stones talk, the false trap of the immaculate conception of virtue? That somehow being and doing good is a given. That doing good will be easy under the auspices of church. With church, you can do no wrong. We talk a great talk. It follows that high expectations are set and they fail. We don't walk the talk. The judgment kicks in, and this kind of an environment is ripe for conflict, and you know people are going to get hurt. It's just a matter of time. The fourth smooth stone states that, quote, religious liberalism denies the immaculate conception of virtue and affirms the necessity of social incarnation. In other words, good things don't just happen. People make them happen. Here at BSUU, we make a lot of good things happen. And with respect to this dynamic of how we are in relationship with each other, we made a very good thing happen on a very critical issue when we instituted our BSUU covenant last year. At a certain point, I had to take responsibility for the life of my spirit coming out of trauma caused by religion. I examined this repeating pattern of reactionary religion, becoming the antithesis of what I bitterly left. I knew I needed right relationships. I needed to lose the negativity. I needed to quit running from what I hate and learn how to run towards what I love. An initial step in healing is to tell the story. The story is cobbled together, told over and over, and it takes many versions to get down to the real story. At first, it's full of bitter should-haves. He should have. She should have. They should have. I should have. Eventually, I shed the should-haves because should have is not how the real story goes. I'm going to repeat that. Should have is not how the real story goes. Another step is owning my part played in that trauma. I need to understand myself. If I made poor choices, own them and make changes. My enemies need understanding. The perpetrators need understanding. It is helpful to understand that most of us are doing the best we can with whatever resources we have, and we are doing the best we can with what we don't have. Along with understanding is compassion. Whether or not I made any of those poor choices, I need compassion. And the perpetrator needs compassion. They may be elsewhere or dead. It doesn't matter. Giving my negligent mother understanding and compassion, even though she's passed on well over 30 years ago, is important for my sake. Yes, happy Mother's Day, Mom. You did the best you could with what you had, and it was enough. I still love you. Forgiveness is about me being able to release that weight. Forgiving my domineering aunt who got us roped into that religion in the first place, and later forgiving myself for shouting every profane expletive I could think of when she questioned me about my falling away. Forgiving myself releases the weight. Healing a past trauma can enable us to empower others in a similar situation. In another town several years ago, I ended up with a majority of my private music students coming from extremely conservative fundamentalist Christian families. They homeschooled. No evil public schools for them. No other private music teacher in that area had that many radical Christians in their teaching studio. More than one colleague said with raised eyebrow, "What's that all about?" As we did not agree on religion, my conversations with these families on that subject were careful and tenuous. Yet, for years, we maintained strong connections because I understood them. Similar to the strict believers I grew up with, these people exerted every effort to live a morally clean life, sheltered, even separated from the world around them, fostering a pure, focused, dignified faith. Looking back on that, I've come to realize this thing called God touches every entity in the universe precisely as that entity needs. As possessors of the divine spark, each of us are co-creators with unseen higher powers. We are co-creators with them. We set our own unique terms. And the unseen power that is in all forms imaginable is ubiquitously expansive enough to meet us there. All souls are sacred and worthy. The second jagged rock. As Becky said, we don't focus on whether someone is damned or divine, because it doesn't matter. It matters that they are here. People are sacred just for being alive, end quote, regardless of their personal theology. I feel glad that I was able to gently bring those kids into a slightly broader perspective. You don't have to stick with the old hymns all the time. It's okay to play Chopin, Beethoven, Scott Joplin, even a few nice pop tunes. I felt grateful for the childhood religion I was raised in because I was uniquely in the right place at the right time for them. And I know I made a difference in their lives. I strongly suggest we take religious pluralism seriously. The 7 principles require it. In the context of all religions in the world community, we strive for peace, liberty, and justice for all, because all have worth and dignity. We strive to work towards equity, compassion, and encouragement towards spiritual growth as we accept one another as is. In our search for truth and meaning, we are free and responsible, which means no one person's carefully thought through point of view gets to matter more than anyone else's well-considered perspective. We respect the right of everyone's conscience and the democratic process. And we do indeed respect the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. At least we try. We're on this journey together, and the way is unique for each individual, yielding exceptional perspectives. Within our diversity, we are strong in our connections and collectively stronger in our ability to make a difference in the world, no matter how challenging the work might be. Shalom and blessed be. Now we will have a silent meditation. And after that, we'll sing the closing hymn, number 300, and then we will have reflections. We will now sing number 300 in the Singing the Living tradition.
I'm going to play it all the way through. I played it also before we sang the thank you song.
Every door is open wide for all who choose to step inside.
And now we have reflections. Catherine.
Thank you, Karen. Those are wonderful words of wisdom that you shared. And when I shared the reading during the announcements, now would have probably been a better time for that. But I just wanted to add in that I think it's a good example I'll just reread here quickly, that some rhythms must remain unbroken, like a dancer in an arabesque. Some cannot carry a child in their arms. Some come to salvation drawn by the hands of small children. Some come only to make their leaps alone. By Mary Mackey. And the example that I thought of after reading that, I reflected and felt like that was, an honoring and or respecting anyone's, but like, for example, even though I don't know anything specifically about the African Aboriginal women's vaginal deformations that occur, and how that can occur in any culture. So just, again, the reiterations of the inherent worth and dignity of every person. I like to add in place, thing, and sentient being. So thank you for reminding us of the principles and the love.
Anyone else? Okay. We shall move on. We need to extinguish the chalice. Janice, would you help with that, please? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Okay, we're going to end the recording.